Jackie Gleason was a successful comedian, actor, writer, and composer. He had one of the best sitcoms of his generation, The Honeymooners, and his debut album, Music for Lovers Only, still holds the record for most consecutive weeks in the Billboard Top 10 Charts, 153. In today's video, we'll be diving into the depths of his personal life to bring you some shocking facts you never would have guessed about Jackie Gleason. He had a misfortunate childhood. Jackie wouldn't lead anyone to believe he had a somewhat terrible childhood, but the truth is tragedy struck him at a young age. His father, Herbert Walter Gleason, abandoned the family when Jackie was 9. His father took everything with him, including his photographs, which meant his son would eventually have no idea what his father looked like, and never found out. Before his father left, the family also dealt with the loss of Jackie's brother, who died of spinal meningitis. Jackie was too young to understand what had happened, but the event took its toll on the family. As Jackie's father grew more detached, his mother clung to the only child she had left and became increasingly protective. In an interview, Jackie recalled his mother's desperate attempts to keep him concealed from the rest of the world. According to Jackie, this left him unable to participate in street games with his peers. Sometimes he watched them play through his window. Jackie's mother eventually had to work to support their family. In her absence and without any other family members, Jackie began hanging out with the local gang. Soon enough, he dropped out of high school. In addition to cracking jokes in movie theaters and pool halls for $4 a night, he made ends meet by working odd jobs. Unfortunately, his mother died in 1935 when he was 19. He had just 36 cents to his name and was forced to build a new life for himself. He ventured into the heart of New York City and began hunting for comedy gigs. He almost sued the producers of the Flintstones. It's easy to see how much the Honeymooners influenced the Flintstones. Joe Barbera, co-founder of Hanna-Barbera and the producer of the Flintstones, claimed he had hired a writer from the Honeymoons to work on the Flintstones. This likely explains why the two shows have so much in common. However, it seems they didn't even try to differentiate the characters. Fred Flintstone matured in a manner that was strikingly similar to Ralph Kramden, Jackie's character in The Honeymoons. The resemblance was so obvious, Jackie decided to file a lawsuit against Hanna-Barbera Studios. Luckily, his publicist persuaded him to change his mind. His decision not to follow through with the lawsuit proved to be a wise one, as Gleason and the Honeymooners were later introduced to many people thanks to the Flintstones. Of course, the Flintstones had a significantly longer run on TV than the Honeymooners. And if Jackie had proceeded in his plan to sue, he would be known as the man who destroyed the beloved cartoon series. Still, there are similarities that should be credited to the Honeymooners. Jackie Gleason's other side. Although we know Jackie as an entertaining comic, he may have had a darker side. Others, especially co-workers, have characterized him as abusive, demanding, unappreciative, and even a bit of a bully. Following a successful career as an actor and comedian, he decided to pursue a career in the music industry. He was also a successful musician, having released over 40 albums to date, 2 of which have been gold certified. His name appears on the liner notes of all 40 CDs, indicating he's the composer and conductor. But this couldn't be further from the truth. According to AllMusic, Gleason had no formal music education. He only had a basic understanding of music theory from working with musicians. In order to accommodate Jackie's limited musical skills, he hired Bobby Hackett, a talented trumpet player who went on to compose, orchestrate, and arrange most of Jackie's albums. As you can probably guess, Hackett earned considerably less credit than he deserved. Worse yet, he was paid far too little for his work. Jackie, on the other hand, gained millions of dollars from recordings that he barely contributed to. This is a pattern seen throughout his personal life. He failed to acknowledge the contributions of those who worked with him. Bobby Hackett wasn't the only one Jackie shortchanged. He also made an enemy of Neil Simon, a writer who worked with him over the years. Simon went as far to say that working with Jackie was his own personal version of hell. This may be why so few of his colleagues attended his funeral. The only star known to attend was Audrey Meadows, who played his wife in The Honeymooners. Health troubles that kept getting worse. Although Jackie didn't pass away until age 71, he had early health issues that presented some red flags. These all originated from his unhealthy lifestyle, and many doctors agreed it was surprising he made it to 71 in the first place. For starters, Jackie weighed nearly 300 pounds. Despite having a remarkable home gym, he never exercised, and his diet wasn't perfect either. He had a love for red meat and desserts and never touched vegetables. His drug and alcohol habits didn't help. He was known for being able to outdrink his peers, and some sources claim he smoked 4 packs of cigarettes every day. At age 62, he started experiencing chest pains while performing. His symptoms became so bad he was unable to perform. After being taken to the hospital, it was determined he needed triple bypass surgery. His health issues began to snowball at age 70. He was diagnosed with diabetes, which he likely had for many years prior. He was also diagnosed with colon cancer, which had spread to other areas of his body, including his liver. At this time, he told his daughter he probably wouldn't be around much longer, and he was right. He died 1 year later. He left parties early to pray. Despite having a tragic childhood, Gleason was able to find peace in religion. As it turns out, his faith in God was high on his list of priorities. He committed to attending every Mass for 2 years to earn favor from God. Jackie remained steadfast in his commitment despite the toll it took on his health. He would leave parties early to pray during the night. His main concern was that he would not make it to heaven before he passed away. The only way he believed he could prevent this fear was to go to Mass every week. Still, he was continuously fearful it wouldn't be enough. He regularly purchased medallions of St. Genesius, the patron saint of performers, for his friends and himself, and he later died peacefully in his sleep. He altered his will just before his death. It's not uncommon for a will to go through several changes over its lifetime. On the other hand, it's pretty unusual for a will to be amended just before death, and that's what happened with Jackie Gleason. In 1985, he finished the first draft of his will. 2 years later, while on his deathbed, he made a sudden change regarding the recipients of his inheritance. His wife Marilyn was initially scribed to receive 1/2 of his estate, but immediately before his death, he reduced this to 1/3. Jackie gave the remaining portions to his 2 daughters, both from previous marriages, as well as his secretary. This would have been an increase in assets for his daughters, who were initially only going to receive 1/4 of his wealth. But the largest beneficiary was his secretary, Seidel Spears, who received $100,000 for her 29 years of service. Previously, she was only going to receive $25,000. Now it's time to hear from you. Were any of these facts surprising to hear about Jackie Gleason? Let us know in the comments section below. And before you go, make sure you give this video a like and subscribe to Facts First if you haven't already. Click the bell icon to stay updated on all our latest content.